Well, we kind of have a big break when it comes to UFC, but the next card coming up is UFC 324, and today I am going to give some early breakdowns, early predictions. So early, unfortunately, we're not going to be talking about betting odds today, but I'm going to dive as deep as we can possibly get into these matchups. I'm going to break them down and give my prediction. Timestamps will be available if you'd like to skip to any particular fight or part of the video. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with many YouTube channels. Let's get started with the early prelim opener. And guys, this is a very good card, and we are going to be starting off with Ricky Turcios taking on Cameron Smotherman. I think this is very good matchmaking by the UFC. Let's break him down. Let's start with Ricky Turcios over here, and we'll start with Sorry, I said that. Ricky Turcios. He is a very versatile fighter who's one of those guys that doesn't exactly shine anywhere in the cage, but he's a pretty decent fighter overall. He can, at times, weaponize pace, and when he does, he can be a little bit of a tough guy to deal with. Other than that, though, he typically kind of just comes in, he carries himself with toughness, he carries himself with grit, heart, and that's how he gets his wins inside the cage. Ricky has been inactive. He's been in the UFC for a long time now, and he's been struggling, unfortunately, to pick up wins. His most recent performance was about a year ago against Bernardo Sopaj, where he unfortunately just came in and he got completely outworked and completely outstruck in that bout. But he did stay true to himself. He never gave up. He tried to win really hard, but he was still unfortunately outclassed in that matchup. He's going to really have to come in here and he's going to have to prove himself because things haven't exactly been going all that great for him. He is going on 33 years old. He's still in his prime, and he's going to have to like really pick it up and get the grit back in there and to, pick up another win. He's got a tough customer ahead of him in Cameron Smotherman, which shockingly 12-6, man. Forget about that. But Cameron Smotherman is a good striker with a high-paced, aggressive approach in the octagon. He does a good job using pressure to overwhelm his opponents, and he isn't afraid to get in there and just get scrappy. He's a pretty durable guy in general. Now, there is something else that Fitzgerald mentioned that was a weakness of his that I never really noticed until the fight with Simone, and moving forward, I think that I would like to mention it with these breakdowns whenever we talk about Cameron Smotherman. Sometimes he comes in and he plants his feet, loading up a big shot, and that leaves him open for aggression and takedowns. He's also way too focused on being cool. Things like, not sitting in between rounds, smiling as if like it's no big deal that he's losing a bout, kind of things like that. But he is still a good fighter, don't get me wrong, okay? He's still a good fighter. Now, Cameron, unfortunately, has had a little bit of a rough year since joining the UFC. He's 1-2 now in the UFC, where he lost to Suri Saidi and Ricky Simone. To be fair, the Ricky fight was him stepping up on short notice for that bout, but he did clearly lose his last two fights. He is now entering his prime, and this is a good matchup for both guys. It's one of those that's unfortunately, it's just a shame that someone has to lose one of these matchups over here, guys. You have two guys that have been really struggling as of late. But for this fight, I gotta go with Cameron Smotherman. I'm like, there's a world where Ricky Turcios can come in and he can just show a lot of heart, a lot of grit, maybe get one over on Cameron Smotherman. But I am feeling good about Cameron Smotherman. I think that he'll just be flat out better. I don't think there's anything on the ground that Ricky Turcios is going to expose for Cameron Smotherman or anything like that. I think it's a matchup that'll get him back in the win column over here. He'll probably come in. He'll probably be stronger. I'm going to go with him to get the job done over here. I'm fairly confident in saying so. I can't just find myself picking Ricky Turcios to win a fight, but I do feel bad. Like, it's, again, a shame that one of them has to lose this fight. But again, Cameron Smotherman is going to be my pick to win this one. All right, guys, let's keep going up the card over here to Michael Johnson taking on Alexander Hernandez. I am excited for this one. I can't wait to watch these two go at it. We'll start by breaking down Michael Johnson over here on the left, guys. Michael Johnson is a well-rounded fighter, but primarily a speedy boxer. The guy comes in, he has good hands, crisp shots, and really good power, along with that speed that he can throw at. He also has good cardio, he has great heart, and he does have a lot of high-level experience. Now, if you've been in the MMA scene for a while, you might know that it has been a meme for a long time that Michael Johnson is a fighter who can quite literally beat anyone and lose to anyone. He can put on a clinic against a championship caliber fighter and just look washed beyond belief against somebody barely UFC level. If you are a betting man, okay, never bet on a Michael Johnson fight. He is literally one of the most unpredictable fighters of all time. Maybe like the most unpredictable fighter of all time. In MMA, he is old now, but he still has shown to have that same rule when it comes to him, and he is still a very capable fighter. Now, in Michael's old age, going on 40 years old now, he hasn't exactly been super active, but he is coming into this fight on a win streak. In the past year, he beat Otman Azaitar, which unfortunately doesn't exactly say a lot, but then he showed the entire world that he still has it when he beat Daniel Zellhuber, straight up outstriking him for 3 rounds. Guys, I have been screaming through the rooftop every single time this dude fights to not place any bet whatsoever, and everybody's still bet on Daniel Zellhuber. Guys, learn your lesson. How many times does this guy need to come in and show you that he can beat anybody and he can lose to anybody? If you bet on this fight at either way and you lose money, it's your fault. I don't care what the bet is. It's as much of an unpredictable gamble as you can possibly get with Michael Johnson. Learn your lesson with him. He has a tough matchup ahead of him. Who knows how it's going to go with Michael Johnson? Alexander Hernandez has been on a roll. Maybe Michael will knock him out. But let's break down Alexander Hernandez, guys. Alexander Hernandez is a great MMA athlete with both power and speed. He has a really nice 1-2. He has good combinations, and he is very good at picking his shots in the stand-up. Now, recently, in Alexander Hernandez's career, we have been seeing him making improvements and adjustments to pretty well all aspects of his game. But for the majority of his career, he has been pretty inconsistent. Sometimes he'll come into a fight and put on a performance that could make you think that he's about to get in there and just make a title run just to proceed to look a little slow and lackluster in the next fight. Sound familiar? But that has been much less frequent as he has been aging, which is crazy. He's also been improving his defense both on the feet and on the ground. He's been just coming into himself as a good, solid veteran of the game. Now, unfortunately, guys, there is one more not so great thing that I did want to mention with him. With the stance that he always brings to the cage and how much he moves in comparison to the shots that he throws, he is very open for leg kicks. Overall, though, Alex has been solid in recent years. And in the past year alone, I have no idea what happened, but Alex has really been putting it together, which is honestly, it's cool to see. In the past year, he came out, he looked improved against Austin Hubbard, having a pretty clean performance there, Then, he beat Kurt Holloway in an incredible technical war, then shocked the world against Chase Hooper with another great performance, then overcame a little bit of adversity and knocked Diego Ferreira out. These are good wins for the most part as well, guys. They could be better, but these are good, solid wins. Alexander has never looked better in his career. He's still in his prime, and he's looking to pick up another win after just fighting a couple months ago, guys. I am so excited for this matchup. I will say, I hope Alexander Hernandez gets a job done. I am completely I'm cheering for this guy trained. If Alexander Hernandez can find his way to a title, that would be incredible. With the story that he's had, with the ups and downs that he's had, and now he's coming into this never looking better, that's awesome, man. Now, as I mentioned, never in a million years should you be betting on a Michael Johnson fight. This is the hardest fight on the card to predict, just because of Michael Johnson. Anything can happen with this guy. But I am going to pick Alexander Hernandez to get the job done. He should win this fight. He's been improving at a nice rate. If his defense is on point, he should look good. He can eat some good shots. I think that he should beat Michael Johnson. He should be more well-rounded than Michael Johnson. And just keep your hands up. Stop the shots. Michael Johnson does have some good power. He should win, but I'm not confident in saying that, guys. I like Michael Johnson, but I really will be cheering on Anthony Hernandez in this bout, guys. I hope that he gets the job done, and I'm going to pick him to win. Next up, guys, which is very weird to see on the prelims over here. So low on the prelims, too. We have Natalia Silva taking on Thug Rose Namajunas. This is a good matchup. This is an interesting matchup. Let's break them down, starting with, as always, over here on the left with Natalia Silva, guys. Natalia Silva is a very well-rounded fighter and skilled fighter for the division. She has great taekwondo, high pressure, and does a good job technically, technical-wise when she's striking. She has good power, and she has good takedowns in her arsenal as well. She's constantly moving. She's incredibly patient. She has great cardio. She has a chin. She has the heart required to win tough bouts, and she kind of has also the sneakiest kicks that can just kind of come out of nowhere, even when she is in close proximity with her opponent. Also, her distance management and movement in general are also very incredible for the division. She is a very good fighter. Her only issue is that, she's shown so far in the cage, is that sometimes she can take a couple minutes to get going, but it's kind of weird because that's not exactly something opponents can count on to take advantage of. Like if you were fighting a Donald Cerrone, for example, she only kind of does that sometimes, and it's hard to predict. Anyways, Natalia has only fought once in the past year, and that was against Alexa Grasso. But unfortunately, that win hasn't exactly been aging all too well. And unfortunately, besides her fight with Jessica Andrade, nothing really stands out about her record at all. She is coming into this fight, she is on a good win streak, but the talent level that she's beat could be better. And this will be her biggest step up in competition so far and should be her hardest fight to date. So we should have some questions answered about how good Natalia Silva actually is. But so far, it's been all good with her. She's in her prime. She's coming into this bout with some really good momentum, a nice win streak like we talked about. And, oh, I forgot to mention, sorry about that. I should have mentioned at the beginning of the video, but Natalia Silva took this fight on short notice, but she has well over a month to prepare. But let's talk about Rose Namajunas, guys. Rose Namajunas is a very complete fighter with all of the experience in the world when it comes to WMMA, and she has a high skill set in all aspects of MMA. She has great technical striking, very nice grappling. She's patient. She has power. She is one of those girls who can kind of come in and she can kind of do it all. The problem at this point for Rose is that you never really know her mindset's at. One day, she will be talking about how motivated she is to become a champion and she wants to be the best fighter in the entire world. Other times, seems like the girl's completely checked out from the game, wanting to like be a pianist or grow a garden, something along those lines. I know that I just like, it's just, she says that type of stuff sometimes. If you're a betting man, that's always something to worry about. She's also been fighting at 125 late in her career instead of 115 pounds. She's not nearly the same killer at that weight. She's visibly fatter, slower, and just kind of, in general, not really built for that division. She's also, unfortunately, past her prime, but she is still a good, capable talent and a very good fighter. Now, looking at Rose's record, it's always shocking to me that she's about 14-7. It feels like she's had way more fights over the years. She's been around forever, and I remember her, like, winning more than not, but she just, she's had a lot going on over the years. It's funny, such a good fighter has that record. But anyways, for her run lately, it's kind of like I mentioned. She's great, she's one of the best, but her best years seem to be behind her, and she doesn't really shine in the weight class that she fights in now. The Amanda Ribas fight sucked, then she beat Tracy Cortez, had a good fight with Erin Blanchfield, but then in the most recent fight she had, with Miranda Maverick, that was a confusing bout to me. It was a close fight, it could have gone either way. I personally edged it to Miranda, but it was one of those fights where it was close enough not to complain. I have no idea if Miranda looked improved or if Rose looked like crap. I think this performance against Natalia will be telling. Rose is headed on out of her prime. She has a lot of miles on her body at this point. She's a good fighter, but at this point, my gut kind of it does worry for her. And this is a little bit of a tough fight to predict, guys, because we don't know, for Natalia Silva, we don't know if she's actually at the top of the division, because again, look at these wins over here. There is nothing besides maybe Jessica Andrade, and even Jessica Andrade, it's like a past her prime version of Jessica Andrade. I don't know how good Natalia Silva is, and I don't know if Rose Namajunas is still one of the best female fighters ever. You know what I mean? I don't know if anybody else will agree with me in saying that. I know she's only 34 years old, but she's been doing this for a long time. Maybe it's a mindset thing. I'm talking like she's kind of checked out. She's not. She's just not the same girl. You know what I mean? This is a very difficult fight to predict. I'm going to go with the experience of Rose Namajunas. She's faced people that I believe are better than Natalia Silva. She's very well-rounded. I don't think Natalia Silva will be able to put a pace on her. I'm going to pick Rose Namajunas. I'm going to give the experience edge to her. Maybe find some counters as Natalia Silva's coming forward. Low confidence pick when I say that, but I am going to pick Thug Rose Namajunas to get the job done. All right, guys, let's keep going up the card. Over here, next up, we have the Incredible Hawk back at it. Josh Hotkit taking on Denzel Freeman. Both guys, people who fought recently, want to get back in there. We love to see it. Let's break down Josh Hotkit first. Josh Hotkit is a former professional football player who transitioned over to MMA. He is a strong, high-level wrestler with good ground and pound. On the feet, he's pretty scrappy. He has nice, he has nice big shots, and he puts everything into the shots that he throws. He is also a very motivated guy. He's very motivated to get the win, and he comes into that cage pretty fearless. Now for Josh, unfortunately, there isn't much to say. There hasn't been much to say. It's been all wins for him outside of the UFC. He went on the Contender Series, and then he got a really, really nice finish in his UFC debut against Max Gimnis in just a few weeks ago, which was crazy. Unfortunately, though, he still hasn't faced anybody of significance. So we still kind of have questions as to how far how far he will go and where he fits in the division. But he's in his prime. He's motivated. He's looked great so far. And I'm excited to see the activity from this. I'm excited to see him back in the cage. Same kind of deal for Denzel Freeman. Let's talk about Denzel again over here. He is a Greco-Roman wrestler who comes into the cage most of the time looking to use that Greco-Roman wrestling. He wants to get his opponents to the ground and either find a submission or finish the fight with ground and pound. He's also a weird one to watch wrestle, and we just broke this down too because he does have good technique, but a lot of the times when you watch him wrestle, if you see this guy getting a takedown, it's less about the actual skill, trying to take people down and the timing of the takedown, and more of like, hey, I'm a big guy, I'm going to run at you and grab you and just put you to the ground. A lot of times, he is flat out just like bigger and stronger than his opponent, so he can kind of like do what he wants. In the last video, I compared it to Derrick Lewis in a way, but I kind of felt bad too because I don't want to compare any technique to Derrick Lewis because it almost sounds insulting. You know, like the Derrick Lewis, just get up. He's like, yeah, you're not holding me to the ground. Get up. He kind of has that, but the opposite way. I want you to the ground. You're going to the ground. But unfortunately, it's not all great because the striking for Denzel Freeman does need work. He has heavy hands. He has an oddly good knee in the clinch, but he is majorly open for counters when he strikes. On top of that, he does slow down as fights end up continuing. He's dangerous, but he is nowhere near perfect in the heavyweight division. Now, since joining the LFA and moving over to the UFC, he has been on a win streak against some okay guys. He came into the UFC on short notice against Marek Blujo, where it was a close fight. It's one of those fights that could have gone either way, but unfortunately, it was just one of those slow, regular heavyweight bouts. So in my opinion, I think this is a good matchup by the UFC. You have two guys who still have a lot of questions and a lot to prove. Both of them are fairly new to the UFC, and they're taking each other on. Denzel is older than Josh, though, coming into this fight at 34 years old. He will have a size, weight, and reach advantage in this bout as well, but that's more of like just Josh being on the smaller side than it is Denzel, you know, being this like crazy massive heavyweight, although he is like a pretty big guy in general. So when it comes to this fight, guys, I have to pick Josh Hotkit just because I've been a little bit more impressed with him. He comes in, he has heavy hands. I love his motivation. I love how motivated he is to come in there and get the win. He really, really wants to make a name for himself, and that can carry a lot of guys too, which is pretty cool to see. Like, it makes me want to cheer for him a little bit more, trying to like bring some light over into the heavyweight division. Denzel, while it was a short notice fight, it was a very underwhelming performance in his UFC debut. I don't think the weight difference will really come too much into play. I think Josh Hotkit will be faster. I think he'll piece up Denzel Freeman. I'm going to edge him to win the fight over here. I'm going to pick Josh Hotkit to get the job done. But it is still a little bit difficult to predict that one because both guys haven't really proven too much. Now, guys, let's get on to one of my most excited bouts on the entire card. We have Alex Perez already returning against Charles Johnson. If you guys have been following the channel, you might know that I like to gas these two up a little bit. I think both of them are very, very underappreciated fighters, but like we just talked about, let's break down Alex Perez for the second time. And is it a back-to-back video? No. Regardless, it's quick. Huh. Love to see the activity, guys. But let's talk about Alex Perez, okay? Alex Perez is a well-rounded fighter with strong wrestling, great leg kicks, and good cardio with a lot of high-level experience. The only hole, and it keeps showing itself in Alex Perez's game, is that he can be open to submissions, and he has struggled with that against top-level competition, most recently, as we saw. But his wrestling is good enough to where, again, he still is well-rounded, so him losing his submission by submission isn't exactly a hole in his game. He just finds himself getting caught every once in a while, you know? But, dude, he's a dog in the cage. You can never count him out of a fight, and he can absolutely compete with the best of the best. One last thing that I always like to mention about Alex Perez over here is that I love his top game. He always takes advantage of a grounded opponent, always trying to hurt his opponents in any way possible. He really, when he's on top of people, he tries to knock them out while he's on top of them. Now, at the time of recording this video, as we talked about, Alex just fought against Asu Almabayev literally just over a week ago. Again, at the time of recording this video. So it's nice to see the activity from him. And I might as well, talk about that fight pretty quickly. It was a shame that he lost, man. It was an excellent fight. It was back and forth, and I would say that he was probably winning. In the third round, he got rocked, and he got choked out with like a really nice guillotine. He was looking really good in that fight. And guys, it's been the story with Alex Perez. He's great. And he has shown over and over again that he can compete with the best, but something about it, he just doesn't always get the job done. But prior to that fight with Asu just a week ago, when I was breaking that fight down, I was worried about how he was going to show up show up in that fight after fighting with Tetsuro Taira, which, that loss has only aged well, by the way, or that fight, even in general. Again, he was having a good, competitive fight with Taira, but you always have to worry about someone showing up and being hesitant in the octagon or injuries reappearing after a bad one like he ended up suffering in that bout. While the injury will likely forever be, worrying to think about in the octagon, it didn't seem to hinder his performance when he fought just a week ago at all. Another thing, for those of you who like to bet, you also always have to worry about someone turning around as quick as Alex Perez is turning around right here. Sometimes the weight cut is too much. Sometimes they end up thriving in activity. You never really know how somebody's going to respond or how their body's going to handle like what Alex Perez is putting it through it. But Alex has been looking great. It's great to see him with the activity again. Hopefully there's no pullouts. And he's still in his prime. Obviously, he's coming into this and looking right back in there to correct, I don't want to say a mistake, but he was looking good. He's looking to get the win over here. But let's talk about Charles Johnson as well, guys. Charles Johnson is a well-rounded fighter, but he is primarily a stand-up fighter with excellent speed and technique inside the octagon when he gets in there. He has great cardio, he has heart, he has underrated power, he also has very nice range in his shots, and he is always live in the cage. He also, which I always say, it's sad to say, but he listens to his corner well, and he's been getting a ton of experience against like really great underrated talent. Now, unfortunately, Charles Johnson can also suffer a little bit against high-pressure wrestlers, but he does have fantastic submission and transition defense. He's a great underrated fighter. Now, Charles is coming into this fight at 18-7 at 35 years old, and he is much better than his record shows. He has been taking on dog after dog in that cage, and he never has an easy outing. He has been incredibly active, and he's been the guy who has had to fight and beat all of these really great prospects. Even just over a year ago, he beat Joshua Van, and nobody's been able to solve that puzzle yet. In the past year, guys, he has also beat Sumidarji, and he has a win over Loner Kavanaugh, which was incredible. His only recent loss came to Ramazan Tamirov, and that fight was one of those fights, too, that could have went to him. And there's a little bit of controversy as well. Charles, age-wise, is out of his prime, but he is still fighting as if he was in his prime. He will have a reach advantage here, and I am excited to see what he can do. And like I was talking about at the beginning of the video, guys, we have another fight over here. It's a shame that somebody has to lose this bout. I have always thought that both of these fighters are extremely underappreciated. I don't want either of them to lose. I will have a very, very slight lean in like what I'm cheering for when it comes to Alex Perez. It just sucks that he can't always get the job done because he goes to fight with these guys, you know? He's very capable of beating the top contenders. He just doesn't always get the job done. But Charles Johnson, man, he's getting a shot up the... I think Alex Perez is better ranked than Charles Johnson. Yeah, Charles, I don't know what it is in the UFC actual rankings, but I think there's a step up in competition, like, numbers-wise. Charles has been long overdue to get sliding into, like, the top 10 over there. I don't know, man. I think for a solid prediction for this fight, I actually think this is a good matchup for Charles Johnson. Alex Perez has proved that he can contend with the best of the best, but I think that Charles will just be tougher in there. I think the reach advantage will come into play. He will keep Alex Perez on the outside of his shots. I think they're going to scrap a little bit. I think it's going to be a decision, but I think that Charles Johnson, by the end of the fight, will just be clear. It'll be clear that, like, oh, well, Charles did enough to win. I think it'll be a fight. I think they'll tag each other, but it'll be like just a clear decision win where he did a little bit more each round. That's how I see that fight going. I love a 1.5 for this because you have two guys that are incredibly tough. I don't think they're going to submit each other. Like, I don't see Charles Johnson submitting Alex Perez, which is the way to beat him, and I don't see Alex Perez having the high-paced wrestling approach to Charles Johnson. Then that's, like, kind of the blueprint to beat Charles Johnson. I think they're going to stand. I think they're going to bang, and I think Charles Johnson is going to get the better of that. I kind of hope Alex Perez wins, but, man, it sucks that one guy has to lose this fight. It is a phenomenal fight. I am looking forward to this one. Charles Johnson is going to be my pick. All right, guys, let's keep going up the card over here, and I think I have a little bit less to say about this one. It's a Teba Gaethje taking on Andre Puliev. It's another good fight. It's going to be a fun fight. I just think this one is going to be one of those easier ones to break down over here. We have a Teba Gaethje, guys, who is a striker with really heavy hands. His power is obviously the biggest thing that he brings into his fights, and he just looks to come in. He looks to finish all these guys. He can be patient. He picks his shots well, and he does work to the body nicely with all the shots that he throws. He also, which I love, doesn't overchase people. You know, a lot of times when you see a guy with the power that a Teba brings into the octagon, they can get careless and they can end up leaving themselves open. A Teba Gaethje does a good job with the patience along with his power. Lastly, for his ground game, we do still have questions as it is still unproven at a high level at this point. Now for Teba, guys, there isn't much to say. it's been all winning. It's been all domination for the most part, and he's coming into this fight looking to do that exact same thing. Unfortunately, there isn't anything to note about his competition level. He'll be getting a step up in here, but it's really nothing too significant. He's still super young at 23 years old. He has a ton of time and a ton of room for improvement, and he's looking to do a little bit more of the same, just coming into this fight, knocking people out. He'll also have a reach advantage over here. He can definitely use that into play. But let's talk about Andre Puliev over here, guys. Andre Puliev, he is a sharp striker with strong power in every single one of the shots that he throws. He's one of those guys where his shots like really stand out. Kind of like even when you're watching it through the TV, they just look like they hurt. Behind that striking game, he does have a decent ground game, and while, again, his striking is solid, he still is hittable, and he is open for counters on the move. Now, we have seen Andre Puliev in the UFC twice now, and he's 1-1. He unfortunately got fed to Christian Leroy Duncan, where he just ended up getting outlanded, and most recently, a lot of people were surprised when he ended up getting the win over Nick Klein. He survived an onslaught and came back with a really nice body kick finish. And here he is with another relatively big matchup. This poor guy is getting nothing easy thrown his way, but he is in his prime. He's looking to stop the hype train coming this way, and let's see if he can do it again, because if I'm not mistaken, he was a really, really big underdog last time around. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm remembering that correctly. I have to go with the Teba Gauthier. I will say it's still a low confidence pick. Andre's a tough guy. It's a step up in competition, but I like what we've seen so far from Teba Gauthier. This is what I was talking about when I don't think that I had a ton to say about this fight. He's been winning. He's been dominating. He'll probably do the same, so I'm going to pick him to win. Definitely not one that I want to bet on, but Teba Gauthier is going to be my pick to get the one job done in this matchup. Now, guys, as you might know, I talk a lot about betting over here on this channel. Unfortunately, we're making this video very early, so we haven't been talking about betting odds, but if you guys would like to either support the channel or see exactly where I'm putting my money where my mouth is, you can check out the channel membership in the pinned comment description down below or right next to the subscribe button. Every single Friday or Saturday that there is a UFC card, I like to bet on other promotions as well, but I am primarily a UFC bettor. I will always have UFC plays out. I will be posting a community members post along with a members only video describing exactly what I'm doing with my money and why. I like to bet pretty safe, so if you guys are interested again in either combining my fight knowledge with your own research or supporting the channel, check out the channel membership. Very cheap compared to other channels. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Let's get into this banger of a main card. And kicking off this incredible main card over here, guys, we have Umar Nurmagomedov taking on Deiveson Figueiredo. I can't wait to watch this. I can't wait to watch most of the fights on this card. I am excited. Let's talk about Umar Nurmagomedov first. And guys, Umar Nurmagomedov is a combat sambo world champion and an extremely well-rounded fighter. He has that typical Dagestani sambo wrestling along with a dangerous stand-up game. Like I said, the guy is very well-rounded. He really excels with his kicks in the stand-up, and he does a great job at range, and he is also very good at mixing things up. He is far from a Dagestani fighter that is always needing to just, like, come in, rush in, and dive for opponents' legs. The guy can fight where he wants, and at the highest level doing so as well. On top of everything, he has good 5 rounds of high-paced cardio. Now, Umar is coming into this fight at 19-1, and he is absolutely 100% proved to be one of the best fighters in the division, which, again, I will say this about 135, it is the greatest division in combat sports history. He just had an excellent fight and performance beating Mario Batista, who is also championship caliber. Lost a close decision to Merab Dvalishvili, and then you have to go to over a year ago where he had like really great fights with both Corey Sandhagen and Bekzat Almakhan, which, again, great fighters. Umar has absolutely shown he's one of the best, and I would honestly argue with Figgy at this specific point in his career, he's actually taking down like a step that's a little bit slight down of a level of competition here. He will have a small height advantage. He's perfectly in his prime, and he's looking to keep that momentum going. The guy has been looking really good in his fights. I love watching him, but I also love watching Deiveson Figueiredo. Deiveson Figueiredo, guys, he is a very complete fighter who historically excelled in a fast-paced, chaotic fight where he can use his power and his presence to like just come in there, dominate, knock opponents clean out. But unfortunately, in this division, in his old MMA age, he is no longer that same guy. He comes in and he does his best work nowadays with his strong grappling. He still can, don't get me wrong, contend anywhere in the fight still, and he does have a complete skill set. He still has great cardio, fight IQ, very good timing on his takedowns, and he does have good submissions behind all of that. But with his age, and since he moved up to the 135-pound division, he has always really lacked that danger aspect that he's had his entire career. His aura in the cage is completely gone. On top of that, he also has had injuries piling up in his recent years, but again, he still has been fighting very well. He's just unfortunately no longer that same dominant champion with all of the aura at this point in his career. Now at 38 years old, guys, he is still fighting some of the best. Unfortunately, he is coming off of a really disappointing fight with Montel Jackson, excuse me. The fight could have gone either way, but aside from the grappling in the first round, nothing really happened in that fight. Prior to that, he lost to both Corey Sandhagen and Petr Yan, which are beyond phenomenal losses to have. Unfortunately, in those bouts, he was just bested, and that's why, like, it's a shame that he's up there in his age now, because I would have loved to see a prime version of Deiveson go against Corey Sandhagen and Petr Yan, and even Umar Nurmagomedov. But he is coming off of a win, despite how you feel about the decision. He's got another insane test for him over here, guys. And this is another one of those fights that I think is a little bit easier to break down, man. I hope Deiveson Figueiredo wins. I hope that he gets the upset. I don't know what the odds are. I'm imagining Umar Nurmagomedov's a big favorite. I hope Figgy gets the job done. I just don't see it. Umar went toe-to-toe with Merab, who is still one of the best in the world. Just looked great against Mario Batista. Mario Batista is also a phenomenal fighter. He's well-rounded. I don't think Deiveson Figueiredo, which Deiveson has been using his grappling to win his fights. I don't know if he can out-grapple Umar Nurmagomedov. I would say probably not. I think Umar is going to really, really do some work on him on the feet. I would imagine that Umar would win the grappling exchanges if there are any. I think it's just a case of Umar being in his prime, younger, hungry, championship caliber, great guys around him, and Deiveson Figueiredo on his way out. It's difficult to be old in, again, the toughest division in combat sports history, so I am confidently going to pick Umar Nurmagomedov to get the job done, but I hope Deiveson Figueiredo gets the upset. Deiveson is one of my favorite fighters. All right, guys, let's keep going up the card over here to Nikita Krylov versus Modestas Bukauskas, and unfortunately, while this card is stacked, I think I have a little bit less that I want to say about this one. It's going to be interesting to break these down. They're pretty simple to break down, okay? We'll start with Nikita Krylov, okay? Nikita Krylov, guys, he is a well-rounded fighter who does a good job mixing things up inside the cage. He has pretty good pressure, and that's pretty well it. What about him? Unfortunately, we don't know to what level he's at this point in his career, or if he's, like, really even the same kind of fighter anymore, because a little while ago, he took a pretty long layoff, and since his return, he just hasn't looked the same, and he got knocked out really bad a couple of times, and the story literally just is that all that we've seen recently is Nikita Krylov coming out, getting blasted and knocked out. There really isn't anything to work with. If you want to take a look at some fights that he had, you'd have to go back a few years ago. He's 33 years old now, going on 34, and the stats are similar. I don't have too much else to say about this. But equally from with Modestas Bukauskas, he's simple to break down too. Modestas Bukauskas is a good striker who typically focuses on counter-striking. He has great power, he has good cardio, and he does have submissions in his back pocket with the striking. Modestas is also very good when he smells blood. When this guy smells it and he turns on those finishing shots, they are very damaging, very devastating. Now, I know it's much easier said than done, obviously, okay? But it is always important for opponents to not show that the shots are affecting them, because he turns into quite the dangerous guy. Now, Modestas is coming into this fight on a 4-fight win streak, potentially longer depending on how you feel about that robbery loss that he had to Zach Pauga, but he's been looking good in there for the most part, guys. The competition level that he's been facing could definitely be better, but he has been coming in, he's been finding finishes, and he's been putting himself on a pretty nice win streak over here. He's in his prime, and we'll have to see how he does against Krylov. Now, I don't think that I can pick Nikita Krylov to win a fight. He came in after that layoff, and he just loses, gets knocked out really bad. What if his chin's gone? So I'm going to pick Modestas Bukauskas. Wouldn't shock me if he found another knockout. Very simple. Modestas is on a roll. Nikita Krylov is on the complete opposite of a roll. I could see Nikita Krylov getting finished again. So I'm going to pick Modestas Bukauskas to get the job done. All right, guys, while this card has a bunch of bangers on it, I am excited for so many fights. This one beats them all, in my opinion. Arnold Allen versus Gene Silva. This is the best you can get for a fight on the card. There is no way that this fight doesn't deliver. I cannot wait to watch it, guys. We'll break it down. We'll talk about both guys. I have a lot to say about both guys. We'll start with Arnold Allen over here, guys. Arnold Allen is a well-rounded fighter, but he is primarily a powerful striker with great movement in the cage, pressure, and footwork in the octagon. He's very fast. He has sneaky takedowns, good grappling, and he has the heart and will of a champion. He also has great takedown defense, both on the feet and defense in general on the ground. He's one of those guys that I love that doesn't accept any bad positions. And honestly, I would say that his willingness to not be kept down is almost next level. No matter where he is, he's trying to just deal damage to his opponents, which is why this is a good matchup. Now, unfortunately, at this point in his career, Arnold is very prone to broken hands. I'm not sure what the stat is behind how many times that he's done it, but I do know that he breaks his hands in a lot of fights. That's always something to note if you are watching this video as a betting man. Could always happen in the first shot. But no matter what happens to him, you can count on him to show up. You can count on him to put on a performance and do everything that he possibly can to win a fight that he's in. Arnold is coming into this fight with a great record at 20-3, but unfortunately, he hasn't exactly been fighting all that much. Each time that he gets in there, he fights like somebody who's been active. So there's that. You don't have to probably worry about ring rust. But unfortunately, the only recent thing that we can point to was about a year ago when he ended up beating Gaethje in a really solid performance that he had. He just pressed and he walked Giga down the entire fight, flat out beating him. Also, Tapology here says that he has been training at TriStar. I have no idea how long that's been a thing for, but that would explain why he's been doing really well. They have great work over there, great coaches, great teammates. I'm excited to see Arnold back in the cage, but he does have a tough customer ahead of him, and this is one you can't get better matchmaking this. He's taking on Gene Silva. Gene Lord Silva is a very well-rounded and very violent fighter. He comes in, he wants to make fights mean, and he will do absolutely anything to hurt you. He doesn't want to touch his opponents. He wants to actually hurt them. He will throw elbows from anywhere. He will have stinging shots from literally all angles, and he will just want to bully you from start to finish. He's one of those weird guys who legitimately looks like he enjoys being inside the octagon and fighting people. And that's always a scary guy to have across the octagon. He doesn't just bully, though, and he isn't just violent. He is a very technically sound and well-rounded fighter. Anywhere, both on the feet and on the ground. His striking has great speed. It has great power. He has good takedown defense with great BJJ in general. He has very good cardio. He's durable, and he has great heart. It is not all good, though, because he does play games in the octagon, and he's way too overconfident. I've been saying for a long time that he's going to get chinned. Fighters can always get cracked fighting the way that Gene Silva does. I also did want to mention something that I heard while I was watching the MMA Guru after the Diego Lopez fight, and I actually think that he was really, really onto something. So, moving forward, unless he proves otherwise, this is something that I would like to bring up with Gene. What he said is that Gene's glove touching and point thing in the cage is cope. It's a reset when he's uncomfortable, and when he can find a way to put a halt to the action so he can get back to the center of the cage and have a fresh interaction. He revealed when he was fighting Diego Lopez that his fighting composure is fueled by ego, and once he ends up getting beat up a little bit, he gets emotional, he starts swinging haymakers, and he wants to just play around to reset the situation. I think Guru was really onto something there with Gene personally, because it makes sense if you go back and watch that fight. So, he might have some newly found weaknesses in his first loss, but don't get me wrong, he's absolutely championship caliber. He is an incredible fighter, and he's training with some really, really great guys. Now for the elephant in the room, okay? After storming his way through everybody in the UFC so far, he, as we just talked about, ran into his first UFC loss to Diego Lopez only 2 months ago. First off, with the damage that he took, I'm not exactly sure if returning so soon is a great idea. Perhaps that is something else to keep in mind if you're a betting man. Like we were talking with Alex Perez, you never know how they can show up. Regardless, he did unfortunately have a really bad outing overall. But it was more of a case of Diego being a championship level fighter than it was Gene Silva going in there and just sucking and getting dominated, if you want to use a word like that. I don't really think that he sucked, but you get my point. He just did, get finished and dominated. But I will say, though, it is incredible how he was performing, how well he was performing on his feet in the second round after the beating that he took from Diego. He was really putting it on Diego, and he just got out toughed. Before that, we've talked a lot about Gene in these videos, guys. He has stormed through pretty well everybody else. One thing is for sure, he is absolutely a top contender up here with Arnold Allen. I know people like to dog on the fighting nerds now, but they have been doing great work over there. They have a lot of great fighters, and I believe specifically that both Gene Silva and Carlos Prates are phenomenal fighters with championships in their future. I can't wait to see him fight again, guys. He's in his prime, and he's looking to just flat out bounce back from that first loss that he's had. I am excited for this fight, and I think this is as 50-50 as it gets. I have no idea what's going to happen. Maybe a 1.5 depending on what the line ends up being there because you have two guys that are really tough. But I also worry about Gene Silva. Like I said, he just fought. And it's not too bad. By the time this fight takes place, it'll be what? 3-ish months? 4, going on 4? He took so much damage in that fight to Diego Lopez. I don't know if that's something you got to worry about. What if he just gets chinned by Arnold Allen? And what if Arnold Allen comes in here, goes to war with Gene Silva, breaks his hands again? This is a 50-50 fight. Not a clue what's going to happen. You know what? I might as well talk about this. I'll talk about it in just a second. I'm going to give the slightest lead into the world to Arnold Allen. I'm talking like 51-49 over here. This is an unpredictable fight, in my opinion. And I might as well talk about this right now, guys. And it's a shame that somebody has to lose this. But for these videos, I don't know. Do you guys want me, like, if I truly think there's a 50-50 fight, do you guys want me to predict this? I'm always looking to improve the channel. Because I always get these comments after the videos where it's like, oh, you picked this fight and this fight wrong. How could you possibly do it? I'm like, yeah, I said it was a 50-50 fight. I just made the pick for the sake of the video. Would you guys like to see fights where I don't pick? I say that's a 50-50, which isn't a lot of fights. But in a case like this, Arnold Allen, Gene Silva, I don't want to give a prediction. And then there's, and I know in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't affect me mentally or anything. It's just, you'll always have those people where it's like, oh my God, you did horrible with the pick on their car. I can't believe you picked Arnold Allen to win that fight. I said it was a 50-50 fight. Yeah, Gene Silva won. Shocker right there. And then I'll hear the same kind of crap where it's like, oh, you did this for predictions. Like, there could be like 4 fights on the card where I go, yeah, that could go either way. And then, oh my God, you picked all 4 of those fights wrong. I said, it could have gone either way. And then everybody likes to look at like the predictions and the actual number of it, like ignoring what I said about those fights. And I can sit back and I don't want to say, like, it makes me probably look bad in the comments if I were like, yeah, but we're on a very nice streak of betting, not losing anything. That's what matters, doesn't it? You know? I don't know. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's a very, very, very minimal number of people yapping about that in comparison to the people that watch the videos, because I can see the view duration. I can see the ratio. Like, I'm appreciative of you guys being here. I'm just looking to improve the channel. So if there's fights that you think would be valuable to just break down and not even predict, just say it's a 50-50 fight, let me know. I'm always looking to improve the channel. Thanks for listening about that. All right, guys, let's keep going up the card over here to almost the featured fight. We have Waldo Cortez Acosta back so soon against Derrick Lewis, who's been pretty inactive. Let's break down this fight. This is going to be a fun one, guys, and it's going to end in a KO. Waldo Cortez Acosta is a powerful, speedy, and improving fighter for the division. Now, guys, historically, if you've been following the channel, I have always said and thought that Waldo Cortez Acosta was straight up a bad fighter, but he's been proving me wrong. Somehow, the guy has just been getting it done in a lot of the fights that he comes out to. And while I still do believe that he's not top level, he is clearly better than your average heavyweight that you see. His hands have been improving. He's been working well off the back foot, and he is very motivated. He's very active, and he has been getting very good experience in the cage. Waldo is a contender, a good stand-up fighter who is no longer the guy that just comes in with power and does nothing else. He is 16-2 in MMA now, and aside from the one loss that he had in Sergey Pavlovich, he's been on a tear. He is coming in active, he's coming in on short notice, and he's knocking a lot of these guys out. I still will say the competition level could be better, but that's more about the current state of the heavyweight division. It is unfortunately the weakest division in the UFC. I believe Waldo, again, besides that Pavlovich bout, is taking on a slight step up in competition here, solely because of the danger aspect that the Black Beast ends up bringing into the cage. But he's 34 years old, he's never been fighting better, and he is looking to just get things going for himself. Looking to come in, he wanted to fight even sooner than this too. But let's break down Derrick Lewis, guys. Derrick Lewis is one of the most untechnical fighters in MMA history, but also one of the most powerful fighters in MMA history. He has only gotten by with his size, his strength, and his power. You can never count Derrick Lewis out in a fight. He is always live for a KO blow. He has poor cardio, bad technique, no heart. Literally anything that you can say negative about a fighter, he probably, is that. But his power is so nuclear that he wins a lot of his fights. He can be pieced up, but shockingly, takedowns don't work too well when you're fighting him. It's been a meme for a long time now that he is the founder of the just stand up technique. If you were to take this guy down, he is so big and strong, that it's rare that you can actually hold him down. He's so weird in there. He's actually a tough guy to beat, despite how easy it is on paper to beat Derrick Lewis. One thing is for sure, though, you can never count Derrick Lewis out of a fight, regardless of the opponent, kind of like the Michael Johnson effect. Now, after a very long layoff, guys, Derrick just fought a few months ago against Talison Teixeira, which had some controversy. He won, but it was a horrible stoppage, you know? He landed a big shot, he knocked Talison down, but Talison got up and was actively fighting back, looking to be all there. It was just a bad stoppage. But that's the story of Derrick Lewis, guys. The guy comes in with massive power, and anything can happen. He's 40 years old. He still carries that same danger aspect, and I am excited for this one. Derrick is always fun to watch, guys. And like I was talking about Michael Johnson, man, I don't think you should ever bet on a Derrick Lewis fight. Waldo, there could be the case where Waldo is just piecing this dude up for 2 minutes, or for 4 minutes and 35 seconds in round number 3. Oh, Derrick Lewis lands a big shot. Waldo Cortez Acosta's out. Derrick Lewis could come in, flatline Acosta. Like, he has that nuclear power to the point where I think it's crazy if you want to bet on Derrick Lewis. Unless, like, you see value with a massive underdog, I don't think this is a fight that you should be betting on. Waldo should win this fight, though. Waldo should be better than Derrick Lewis. He should have more volume. He should land more. I think he should beat Derrick Lewis. But the problem is, Derrick Lewis can always just land a bomb. So Waldo Cortez Acosta is going to be my pick. Also, guys, it's important, if you happen to be new to the channel over here, don't know why, I have a major issue with Waldo Cortez Acosta. I have a history of picking his fights incorrectly. Don't know what it is. I think I got, like, the Sergey Pavlovich one right. Who, like, I don't remember who I picked. I think I picked Shamil Gaziev. I don't remember what I picked in that fight. I don't know what it is. I can't call this guy's fights. So if you happen to value my opinion at all, just know I have a history there. But Waldo Cortez Acosta is going to be my pick. I hope Derrick Lewis wins. It'd be funny to see him win. He always has something for the crowd. But Waldo Cortez Acosta, he's going to be the better fighter. You can't, like, I don't know. It's weird with Derrick, man. Now, guys, let's get into the featured fight on the card over here, guys. Just like I was talking about Arnold Allen and Gene Silva, I am supremely excited for this fight. But there's no way anything is going to be better than Gene Silva and Arnold Allen, man. But we have Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. Incredible fight over here, guys. Incredible fight. Let's start with Sugar Sean O'Malley, okay? Sean O'Malley is a well-rounded fighter, but primarily a tall and lengthy striker for the weight class. I would actually go as far to say that Sean O'Malley is one of the best strikers in MMA history. He is super fast and super powerful at the same time. He has great movement. He has great combinations. He has a wide variety of shots in those combinations. Counter-striking's also, and he's insanely accurate in general. He also doesn't slow down. He can keep up that pace and accuracy and power for 5 hard straight rounds. On top of everything, while he doesn't exactly offer an aggressive ground game when he comes into the octagon, his takedown defense and his get-up game are phenomenal. Now, in the past year, guys, Sean has fought twice, losing both times to the same opponent, that, of course, being Merab Dvalishvili. In the first fight, Merab did what he usually does to people. In the second fight, I actually felt so bad for Sean, guys. I felt so bad for him because he looked so good in that fight. He just lost. He made clear improvements to his game, particularly in his takedown defense and get-up game from the bottom position. Like I said, they were phenomenal. He had a better performance, a much better performance. He was just bested. Who would have known that it was also possible for, like, one of the best ever in Merab to improve at a crazy rate as well? But anyways, one might worry about Sean O'Malley's motivation after, like, moving forward after suffering 2 title defeats like that and big title defeats. But according to Sean, he still is dedicated, he's motivated, he wants to get the win, and I'm happy to see that, man. He's 18-3, he is absolutely still one of the best fighters in the world, and I'm excited to see him back. He's in his prime, he will have a solid reach and height, and slight height advantage in this matchup, and he can definitely use that reach and height over here, especially the reach advantage against Song Yadong. But I've also been talking about Song Yadong for a long time, guys. Song Yadong, the Kung Fu Kid, is a very well-rounded fighter with more of a strength in the boxing department, but he is absolutely one of the best fighters, and again, one of the most stacked divisions of all time, the most stacked division one time in 135, and he can utilize all aspects of MMA at the highest level. He has excellent hands, he has great cardio, durability, power, heart. The guy can do it all with one small weakness. he doesn't check leg kicks. If a fighter can come in and take advantage and just blast those kicks over and over again, I believe that they can get a pretty good one-up on Song Yadong. But when it comes to literally anything else in MMA, he can compete at the absolute highest level. Now, if you guys have been following the channel, you might remember how much I like to glaze this guy. I like to talk about Song Yadong quite a bit, guys. I think he's so underrated. And I think so far, he has proved to be one of the best in the division. He's been improving at a very nice rate. And as I mentioned, he is well on his way to being a complete fighter. He's just improving. He's good, man. He's 22-8. Unfortunately, hasn't been exactly been too active. The only recent fight that we can point to from Song Yadong was about 9 months ago against Henry Cejudo. And while that wasn't the best version of Henry Cejudo, he's still, Henry is still a great fighter, and that's a very good win to have. There was a little bit of controversy, of course, with his win and the eye poke, but he was a nice step ahead, and he was definitely well on his way to winning a decision anyways. He wasn't going to get knocked out by Henry Cejudo. He's great, man. He has a very, very tough test ahead of him. This is one of those fights, again, where it's a real shame that somebody has to lose because they're both some of the best in the world, and this is a very important fight for both of their careers, and I like both guys a lot, man. It sucks that somebody has to lose this one. It is such a fun and great matchup, but it's so important for both of them. Now, as much as I often talk about how Song Yadong is a very great fighter and a very underappreciated fighter, I'm very confident that Sean O'Malley will beat Song Yadong. I think his range will come into play over here. I think they are going to have a striking match. I think that Sean O'Malley is going to force a striking match upon Song Yadong. I'd be surprised if Song just tried to box with O'Malley because he does have a great ground game too. But I like the improvements in get-up game that I've seen with Sean O'Malley against Merab. And Merab, I know he just lost, but Merab is still one of the greatest fighters to ever do it. Sean did a great job out fighting him. Sean's back in a 3-round fight. I think that he is going to really, really work on Song Yadong over here. I think that Song will find himself in the pocket a few times against Sean. He'll tee off with some good fights. I don't think that he's going to knock out Sean O'Malley. I don't think that he's going to take down Sean O'Malley. If he does, Sean's going to get up. And I think that Sean is just going to flat out outrange him, outstrike him, outvolume him. Song's tough enough where I don't think he'll get finished. And I can also see Sean O'Malley really taking advantage of the leg kicks on Song Yadong. Sean O'Malley is a very, very confident pick. I don't know what the odds are going to be, but this is a bet that I will consider placing. Sean O'Malley is one of my most confident picks on the card to get the job done. Now, guys, before we talk about the co-main event over here, let me stop you for just one more second. As you might know, I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. If you happen to like my commentary and you are interested in checking out some of my other videos, we do have multiple other channels that we upload commentaries on daily. You can check the top of the description with the link tree right there, or in the description you can find the direct links to all of my channels. It's been nice to see some of you going over here. It's been nice to see some people from other communities coming over here as well. Again, I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. I want to be your background noise guy, so if you want to watch more content, go check it out. And like, subscribe, all that stuff. Comment down below. Follow me over on X. We like to get community-based opinions on videos as well. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Let's talk about the co-main event. Now, guys, we have a WMMA fight that I am actually kind of excited to see over here. Kayla Harrison taking on Amanda Nunes over here. Very interesting. I have no idea what version of Amanda Nunes will show up, but I cannot wait to talk about it either way. Let's break down Kayla Harrison first, guys. Kayla Harrison is a 2-time gold medalist Olympian who just comes in wanting to steamroll her opponent's MMA. She has good power in her hands for the division. She has incredible judo, and she is roided up beyond belief, obviously making herself much stronger than her opponents. On the feet, Kayla Harrison is just okay. The striking definitely needs work. Kayla also cuts an insane amount of weight. So far in her career, it hasn't really seemed to affect her at all, like when she actually gets into the octagon, but that day will be coming, especially if she does it more often at 135 and as she gets up there in age. In the past 2 years, we've seen Kayla fight in the UFC 3 times. She came in and she beat Holly Holm, Ketlen Vieira, and Juliana Pena, of course, get the title. And honestly, guys, that means nothing to me. Holly Holm would have been a good win if Holly Holm wasn't old. Ketlen is kind of just a big body that roid rage found herself to deal with, and Juliana Pena is one of the worst fighters ever. It speaks to how weak the division is, but hey, she's champ. Beating Holly is a free win. Ketlen was an underwhelming win, and it took her way too long to submit Juliana Pena. My gut feeling after she won that title was, if Nunes is in shape, she'll kill her. She's big and strong, but there's nothing that stands out. She's past her prime now, and I'm really interested to see how she'll perform against Amanda, and I think how this fight's going to go is going to really rely on what version of Amanda Nunes comes into the cage. Amanda Nunes, guys, we all know her at this point. She is a well-rounded fighter, but she is primarily a wild boxer with arguably, not even arguably, with the greatest and heaviest hands and greatest power WMMA has ever seen. She is a big, muscle-filled girl who comes into the cage and just overwhelms her opponents. She has a way of making woman after woman crumble as soon as she starts pressing forward. She has great power, she has good hands, insane pressure, and is arguably the greatest female fighter of all time. It isn't all great though because she is getting up there in age now, and her cardio and heart can be suspect. Usually she doesn't need to worry about any of that though because she just steamrolls people. Anyways, Amanda is coming into this fight at 37 years old, and we haven't seen her in what's been going on 3 years now. She beat the brakes off of Juliana Pena and just did whatever he wanted and toyed with Irene Aldana in her last 2 wins. But they probably don't really matter since they were so long ago. She will in this fight have a reach advantage, which she can definitely use. I'm really interested to see how she comes into this fight outside of retirement, because I think this is going to be the story of this fight. I think this fight is going to be, it's going to be very evident of how it's going to go at the beginning of the fight. If Amanda Nunes is motivated, and if Amanda Nunes comes in this fight in shape, long story short, if it's the Amanda Nunes that was champion, if it's the same girl that left and she comes back, this is not going to be a competitive fight, and she's going to come out and murder Kayla Harrison. If Amanda Nunes has gotten comfortable in retirement, if she's like rich now where she doesn't need to, train as hard as she used to, if she's just coming back because it's a big fight. I know that Amanda Nunes has expressed like Kayla Harrison is an interesting fight, but still, you have to like really want that belt, you know what I mean? Kayla Harrison might be able to just use the roid rage and just out-grapple her, and Amanda Nunes might suffer cardio-wise. We'll have to wait and see, probably at weigh-ins. Within maybe the first 30 seconds of the fight, we'll be able to tell. It all depends on what version of Amanda Nunes shows up. If she shows up at the same girl that she left, she's going to win easily. If not, she's probably going to lose. So what do I pick? I don't know. I know Kayla Harrison's a champion. I know she's 19-1. Nothing has made me impressed about her. Absolutely nothing. So I'm going to give a very slight lean to Amanda Nunes for that reason, but we still have questions. I hope Amanda Nunes gets the win too, man. I don't know. I'd like to see her get the belt back. She's wholesome, and she is a better champion to have at 135. So Amanda Nunes is going to be my pick with very low confidence, and I hope she gets the job done as well. And now, guys, for the main event of the evening over here, we have a banger of a fight for the interim belt, Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. I don't know what the odds would be for this one, to be honest with you. I would imagine that Gaethje would be a little bit of a favorite, but I'm excited to talk about this. Let's break both these guys down, and then we'll talk about it, because I have a lot that I would like to say about this fight over here, guys. We'll start with Justin Gaethje, okay? Justin Gaethje is a well-rounded fighter, but primarily a technical brawler who is one of the most heart-filled, durable warriors of all time. There are literally very few guys who legitimately love to fight and has as much heart as Justin Gaethje does. In the cage, he is a very scary man to have across. Kind of like we were talking about Gene Silva. When somebody loves it, that's a different kind of worry. He can be technical. Every once in a while we do see that, but usually he just comes in, he chooses to load up on his shots. He has no problem taking 2 to give 1, and he wants to slug it out and outwork you. On the feet, he has good power, speed, ruthless leg kicks, and nice timing. The leg kicks are especially something that a lot of fighters talk about specifically when it comes to Justin Gaethje. Apparently, he just has a kind of a different power when he ends up landing them. You might even remember Khabib Nurmagomedov was even a guy who ended up speaking about how hard he actually throws his leg kicks. And Max Holloway also said that his bones are made of vibranium. It seems to show in the cage when he throws, and I trust their word. He also has a high-level wrestling background, but it's something that we literally never see him use in the cage. If you try to match Justin Gaethje in the fight that Justin Gaethje wants to have, he will more than likely beat you at that game. Now, Justin returned after a long layoff after the UFC 300 loss to Max Holloway, and this year, he took on Rafael Fiziev in a short notice rematch. Short notice on Fiziev's end. It went as these usually pretty well do with Justin. They fought hard, and he got a decision win. Justin has since been sitting back and demanding a title fight or retirement, and that's oddly how we are here now. He's 37 years old, somehow still fighting very well for his age and the miles that he has on his body, and he'll be looking to get back and get another interim title here. There is one more thing that I wanted to mention about Justin Gaethje before we continue on, and it's about this matchup specifically. Justin said that after his loss to Charles, he's been training a lot of jiu-jitsu. with the history that Justin has in the cage, I would be surprised if we saw that against Paddy. The guy just comes in, he'll probably want to do damage, but hey, who knows, it's worth mentioning. I'm paraphrasing, but he said something along the lines of like, who knows, maybe I'll be the one to submit Paddy Pimblett. But let's talk about that grappler and Paddy Pimblett over here, okay? Paddy Pimblett is a well-rounded fighter, but primarily a slick and sneaky grappler. But the more that we see Paddy Pimblett come into the UFC, the more that he's been using and improving his striking game. His distance management in the striking game has actually really improved in particular. He's very good at hiding his kicks to keep his opponents at bay and judge range. His power is also very underrated. It looks like it stings when this guy hits you. He uses the clinch well. He has good volume. He knows the proper points and moments when he should be throwing his shots. Because his power is so good, and because his grappling in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is so scary, he does a good job with the pressure because he always keeps his opponent thinking and wondering what he's going to use, and he uses this to the maximum extent nowadays. In general, he has turned himself into a very well-rounded MMA fighter, and he's been improving from fight to fight. I was actually listening to Michael Chandler speak about what it was actually like to be inside the octagon with Paddy Pimblett, and there is something interesting that came, and I don't remember if it was an interview or a podcast or whatever it was, but I would like to mention this when we break Paddy Pimblett down moving forward, because obviously he's been in the cage with him. Michael spoke about how great his octagon presence was. He always knew exactly where he needed to be. As I mentioned, he was like, he's very good with playing around with that. He was comfortable with every single situation that presented itself. It made his pressure difficult to deal with. And it's all unfortunately not great with Paddy though, because while he has been vastly improving, that chin is way too high when he throws shots. He is very open to getting blasted in the chin. In his career so far, he's gotten on by like outwilling and out-toughing opponents, saying like, Scousers don't get knocked out. So far, it's proven to be true, but one day, that chin is going to go. But hey, he's still young. He's still young, so he can probably handle it for now. Lastly, we do have to talk about Paddy's extreme weight fluctuations. I'm sure that you've all seen it by now if you've been in the MMA world, but after fights, Paddy literally blows up. He literally gets fat, and he loses all of that drastically when it comes time to fight, and he puts himself in beyond phenomenal shape. It's so odd that he improves his skill sets the way he does, because you would think that training camp would be strictly about losing weight, but hey, it works somehow. Kind of makes you wonder if there's any PED usage there because it's so good, but of course, we'll never know for sure. No accusations. The reason that I want to bring up is because what Paddy does, gaining weight and losing weight that much over and over again like he does, is very unhealthy despite what he looks come fight time. His body will only be able to handle this treatment for so long. The question is how long. But he's been improving, like I said, and he's been turning himself into a highly technical, well-respected, high-skilled top contender. Now, Paddy has been flying through the rankings without actually fighting somehow. He's 23-3 in MMA now, and he hasn't been very active. But he's been getting through all of these guys so far in the UFC, besides that, of course, robbery that we all know to Jordan Levitt. But most recently, he's coming off of an extremely dominant performance against Michael Chandler. We spoke a little bit about that performance. Everything about him in this fight looked improved. And I know that there are a lot of guys that now just completely count Michael Chandler out of fights. I understand where you're coming from. I understand how you feel. And you're right about him being, like, when it comes to his career, on the easier side to beat now. But he is absolutely still a tough outing for anyone. He's just been easier to beat now than he has been historically. Usually it was like you'd have to go through war to beat Michael Chandler. But again, Paddy looked great, and hopefully we see him improve even more with the belt on the line now to be motivated for and potentially a match with Ilia Topuria. He's also a new father, and that kind of lights a fire under you than like anything in the world possibly could. He's in his prime, he'll have a reach advantage, and I cannot wait to see how he does, guys. So this is going to be a very, very fun fight. Oh, I just used the wrong OBS preset. Sorry about that, guys. It's a very, very difficult fight to predict, guys. When it comes to anything like betting, it almost feels like this should be one where you should wait for weigh-ins, because you have a couple questions. Like, first of all, how's Justin Gaethje going to show up in shape? Because he's been talking about retirement. He's been threatening retirement. Obviously, if he loses this, it's probably going to be his last fight. He talked about having one more title run. Is he even motivated? How hard has he been training for this? Paddy Pimblett's probably super, super ridiculously motivated. On top of that, I would like to see how they kind of size up. I know the height is a little bit similar, but I don't know, like, thickness and all of that. I would like to see if one has a physicality advantage in the other. If Paddy's bigger than Gaethje, if, like, I look at them and I think, okay, you know what, Paddy might be able to, ragdoll Justin Gaethje a little bit, then I'd lean towards Paddy Pimblett. But I could also see this fight going in. They stand with each other. Justin Gaethje is the best fighter that Paddy Pimblett has taken on so far, by far. Technical Justin could really, really work Paddy in this. But what if Justin Gaethje doesn't fight like that? What if Justin Gaethje just classically comes in and swings the way he does? Then anything can happen, you know? It's a very, very tough fight to predict. I think if Gaethje shows up, if he's motivated, and he comes in with a technical approach, I'm talking using those uppercuts, I'm talking using those leg kicks, it's going to be a long night for Paddy Pimblett. But I'm more so feeling the momentum that Paddy's on, the improvements that Paddy has been making. I am going to pick Paddy Pimblett in a very, very low confidence pick. It's another one of those fights where it's a shame that somebody has to lose. I hope Paddy Pimblett gets the job done, though. I would love to see him set up with Ilia Topuria. I've always liked Paddy Pimblett. He is a very, very, very fun guy. My mom and I always cheer for Paddy Pimblett. It's a good time with Paddy fights because I'm watching this with my family. My mom and I find Paddy hilarious. My dad cannot stand the guy. So when he keeps winning, it's funny to see my dad's reaction too. He just shakes his head. Regardless, it's going to be a banger of a fight. This is the toughest test for Paddy Pimblett. If he passes this, he has the potential to get the belt, man. I'm excited to watch it. I mean, technically he will have a belt, but you know what I mean. I'm excited for this, guys. Let me know what you think about all of the fights down below. And if you're new to the channel over here, we will have the betting guide out probably within a few weeks because there's a lot of changes that can be made to the card. And if anything significant changes, we will also make an updated full card breakdown for you. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Take care, everybody.